with the team, the whole powerful team of the ADDI, African Diaspora Institute. As all of you knew, we said today was going to be, the power engine of the house is bringing another powerful team to educate us on what is going on in the ADDI today. But before we carry on this discussion tonight, we'll just be asking you guys who are joining this conversation tonight to share the stream, invite one another, because you know what? Before the Queen Mother, Dr. Arikana, Her Excellency, comes into the show, we should be ready to move. But now, as you can see, sitting right here with me in the studio is a powerful backup. Just saying them from their look, you know what we have today, right? So now, all of you that are watching, if you're watching from the continent or you're watching in the diaspora, I want to invite you to ask a lot of questions as possible, and because they are at the end of the show, everybody's always going to be like, Dr. Susan, what's happening? We cannot log in. I sign in and I created an account, no feedback. You have the IT specialist sitting right here in front of you. He's going to take all your questions and everything that has not been working. Don't bring it on me today. Now I've just brought the right person to answer your questions. Of course, there are also a lot of people asking, yeah, I want to join the ADDI in Africa. Do you have a branch there? Is it opening yet? Now you have, look at who is sitting in front of you, this beautiful queen. She's going to answer all your questions about chapter formation. And while we are waiting on Her Excellency Ambassador Dr. Arikana Chihombori Quao, the power lady on the continent, the latest name that you won't hear anywhere when it has to do with Africans and women and ladies and mothers and voices. That's the only one that we know for now. So if she's right there, as I hear a positive signal, probably we'll have to go into the conversation. But what is it that we want to talk about today? We just want to have a conversation with the team of the ADDI. And like I said, a lot of questions have been hanging in the air. People who cannot connect, people who want to join the team. But particularly today, as you know, last week we already, and Her Excellency was here and launched this wonderful 1 million campaign for the diaspora. And we're even thinking we could topple that up, because I saw the heat in your eyes that Africans are saying, 1 million? Are you kidding? We have more than that. So let's see what is going to happen today. And for those of you that have already created your account, I'd like to hear your feedback and your comment. It's just not about the talk. You remember what Her Excellency Dr. Arikana told us last time. Let's put our mouth where our money is. If you don't have something to offer, I don't want to use that term. She's the right person to say it like a mother. And when she says shh, she means it. So I want to welcome this entire team here. I guess Dr. Arikana, Her Excellency, is right here in place to lead this team. And let me say good evening to you, ma'am. How are you?
Doing very well. My apologies for being late. I was finishing another phone call. Thank you for all you do to uplift our beloved continent.
I can see. I guess all the calls that were just coming in, because I've been having a lot of them from the continent in the diaspora. So what just happened with the AU elections? I don't know what happened. Are you getting the same calls?
Yes, actually. Well, I guess the power of the vote lies in the hands of the heads of states, and they have spoken, so we move on.
Beautiful. I like that. Yes. So, but what are we looking forward at, High Excellency? This is 4 big years ahead of us. Do you look at it as something that, oh, okay, we needed it, or you like, because I know we did not need extra 4 years. You could have been there and everything would just move.
No, for me, the issue was never for me to be the next AU chair. The issue was for having democracy, but also having more female participation in the electoral process. That was denied to the African women. Hopefully next election, the women will mobilize, and we need to identify more able female candidates that we can support, so we can be prepared for the next elections. Hopefully, whatever happened this time will not happen again.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody has any contrary opinion or would even disagree, particularly if you say it. But I know there's some people that want to really hear us like, how did it happen? Anyway, we're going to come back to that because actually we have to focus on the work that we have on the ground today. And so please permit me, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are watching from all our platform, to welcome on this board this powerful team led by Her Excellency Ambassador Dr. Arikana Chihombori, founder and president of the ADDI and the Woman in Place on the continent for Black faces and African women. So I want to welcome also on this channel today Miss Sylvia Litana Robertson. She is the chapter formation chairperson of the ADDI. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
How
Thank you
are
very
we?
much for having us.
Yes, thank you so much. I mean, you look also beautiful. I've been looking at your hair, the same thing on the flyer, like, wow. Are we gonna have something on the ADDI like that just for our looks? Because I'm telling you right now, you know, all of us are hot on the ADDI and all its specialists. Okay, but yes, we have one powerful man, the king, in the house tonight, Mr. Jote Tadesi. I hope I pronounced the name so well. Tadesi is the IT specialist in the ADDI. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, Dr. Susan,
Good,
and
fine.
thank
I
you
hope
for
all of
having
us
us
are
on this
ready. And so I would give the first word and the place to Her Excellency Dr. Arikana. Could you just go ahead and tell us who are here and what are they doing before we get into details on each person and what they do?
Okay, first of all, I want to congratulate Mr. Faki for being nominated the chair for the next 4 years of the African Union. We want him to know that we look forward to engaging him when it comes to the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and that we are going to be watching to make sure that diaspora participation is also part of his focus as we move forward. With us today, we have the Director for IT for African Diaspora Development Institute, and also the Director for Chapter Formation. As we are organizing ourselves as African diaspora, particularly in the environment of the African Continental Free Trade Area, we understand that diaspora have a role to play, and for us to effectively do so, we need to organize. Sister Sylvia Robertson, she is the one who is helping us mobilize and reach out to as many diaspora as we can around the world. We are creating chapters to make sure we continue to spread the word as to why we must unite. African Diaspora Development Institute is the entity that was designed to be the bridge between the African diaspora and our beloved continent.
Thank you so much, Her Excellency. Do you want to say a word about the 1 million funding that we're launching? I mean, like for those that were not here, a lot of people just like, oh, I missed it. Even though they watch it, they probably would still like to hear what is it that we want to achieve with this.
Well, when you look at the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and as well as the opportunities that are going to be made available, most of them, by and large, the contracts are contractor funded. So this is where we lose the game as Black people, as African diaspora, Black people on the continent, as well as Black people around the globe. What we need is to pull our financial resources together and to pull our intellectual capacity together. Africa today does not have both in an organized way, which is why as these contracts, as these opportunities are becoming available, it is those who are organized with their financial resources, those who are organized with the intellectual capacity, they're the ones who are going to succeed at getting those contracts. We are saying as African diaspora, to whom much is given, much is expected. The building of Africa is our responsibility. And as African diaspora, we are standing up to say, we are going to own our responsibility. We are going to own and accept what it takes, the challenges that we are going to face as we try to build the Africa we want. No one builds China for the Chinese. No one built France, Germany, Italy, all the European nations for them. Those nationalities, those nationals built their own nations. Africa should also stand up on her own 2 feet and build her Africa. The way things are today, as the opportunities are coming in, it is not by surprise that the Chinese are moving in to the extent that they are, because development is needed. The heads of states need development. If the diaspora are not there to stand up and fill that void, others outside Africa are going to fill that void. We want people to be very clear about one thing. Africa today does not have the capacity Africa needs to build a sustainable Africa. It's very clear if you look at our history that the colonizers came to Africa to extract natural resources out of Africa, which is why for over 400 years and the many centuries they've been on the continent, there hasn't been any significant development that we can speak of. No infrastructure, no access to power, no access to water, poor healthcare, poor education. All they have done is extract out of the continent. Theirs was not to build Africa. Let's be clear. The building of a sustainable Africa is our responsibility as Black people, not only Black people on the continent, but Black people around the globe. So we are saying as African diaspora, because we understand the brain drain that has occurred over the centuries has left Africa without the adequate capacity we need to build the Africa we want. Today, as we speak, there's not a single African country that has the capacity to build a railway line, the capacity to build an airport. But that capacity, if we come together, we have it within the continent as well as within the diaspora. ADDI is saying the time is now for Africa to unite, for children of Africa in the diaspora to unite. I do know financial resources is another area where we are defeated, because financial liberation is something that has been denied Black people wherever you see us around the globe. So also, because I do know that in many cases, remittances from the African diaspora are sustaining many African economies today. So I can also just imagine that if we were to also equally come together, pull our funds together in order to be in a position to compete for the bidding process for all these contracts that are available, that are lining up in our beloved Africa, we will be in a position to be on the driver's seat for the continental development. It is the right thing to do. It is the fair thing to do. And the onus is on us to step it up and rise up to the occasion and unite.
Excellent. I mean, we all know that the need is right now, and we have to hurry. We don't even have that time, as a matter of fact. Thank you so much, Her Excellency, for that wonderful presentation, or exactly the same thing you've been saying for a couple of years. I think you just even, it's a kind of like a redundancy saying the same thing, but because we Africans are those people that we need to keep repeating the same thing to get our brains focused on that, it is necessary. And so we appreciate you. I want to go back to Mr. Jote Tadasi, because IT, as an IT specialist, what are people expecting to know about your position in the ADDI? What is it that they expect? I mean, is it just something like people used to say, oh, we can get a connection, or we don't know how to sign in? Or what is it all about? What is your position on the ADDI, sir?
That's a wonderful question, Dr. Susan. And first of all, I just want to once again say thank you for providing this forum for ADDI to really tell our story in terms of what we're trying to achieve. As the sector director for information and digital technology for ADDI, one of the core objectives that we want to achieve is that we know the global people of African descent within and outside of Africa that are involved in various fields of information technology profession are out there doing a lot of great work. There are those of us who are working for multi-billion-dollar companies at various capacities, all the way from CIOs, CEOs, vice presidents, you name it. And we have the intellectual capacity, the experience, and the expertise to do more for our continent. What ADDI wants to do as part of creating this sector for information and digital technology, really creating a cohesive environment for the global people of African descent in information technology profession to come together, to organize and mobilize. Today, that's what we're missing. It is not because we don't have the intellectual capacity or the experience or even the financial resources. We have all of that. What needs to be done is we need to stitch it together, connect it together in such a way that it can move the continent to the direction that we want to.
This sounds very interesting to me because the issue is there's just too much. And I think what you're doing now should be the right thing that the ADDI is doing, because it's not a lack of specialists, but just don't have a database that is saying if you're looking at a health specialist or an engineer or whoever. So it's a matter of structure, right?
Absolutely. And as the ambassador said, rightfully so, today, what we're saying as people of African descent in the diaspora and outside of Africa, we want to play our role in building the Africa that we want. And in order to do that, we really need to know who is who in terms of our capabilities and capacities. So ADDI creates that forum. And we're also saying that we cannot do it without the African diaspora. The African diaspora holds the key when it comes to bringing impactful, meaningful contribution back to the continent. People talk about digital economy. The ambassador just talked about the remittance volume that goes back to the continent every year. Now, as of last year, close to $65 billion that are remitted back to the continent. That is way more than the GDP of many of the African countries. If that could be organized, just imagine the type of economic value that could be harnessed and the position that it puts ADDI on really being tip of the iceberg when it comes to moving the continent in the direction that the ambassador were articulating earlier.
Absolutely. I think that's a wonderful job. So now, if somebody would want to say, how do I become? Is it that you have a platform where we get all the specialists like an IT, or how does it function? I am a specialist and I want to become in your department. What do I do?
Absolutely. And Dr. Susan, that's a great question, because I myself, I've been in the IT industry for the last 20 plus years. Worked within government and corporate America for many years. And there are those who are also doing the same, even with much more experiences than I do have. So what we're saying is ADDI, let ADDI be a place to come. Number one, register with ADDI and indicate what your specialties and expertise are. If you are a founder, if you are a CEO of a company, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a software engineer, if you are a blockchain expert, if you are a digital banking expert, we need you. So then the first step is to come and join ADDI. Now, for those who are platform builders, innovators, right? Technology leaders, bring your platforms and your innovations as well, because we want to know about you and the products that you're creating. And we want to create a forum where the continent actually could leverage and benefit from the innovations that you bring to the country, to the continent. There is more than enough to go around, even when it comes to the benefits and the financial gains and the economic value of such platforms. We want to create an ecosystem of ecosystems. We invite all of those software builders, technology professionals, platform builders to come and join us so that we can shine a bright light on the work that you're doing so the rest of the diaspora can join you.
Okay, I will be getting back to you because there's some questions on particularly your department, but I just want to, because I see Queen Sylvia has been waiting and like, who is ready to form a chapter somewhere. Miss Sylvia Latana Robertson, I know your big work and your engagement, because we have been forming the chapters already in Europe, and that was the first experience that I had to do, to do it. Can you just give us an overview of how many chapters are existing? And yeah.
May I acknowledge you? Thank you so very much. Jote, our IT director. Yes, we have been putting together these chapters since last year, May. And so far we have 64 chapters globally. When I say globally, I mean from the US all the way to China. We've gone to Australia, New Zealand, the South and Central America as well. It's been a globe trot to get all these chapters together with this pandemic. But so far, so good. It has been good, and I'm very happy because my target goal with the team when we started last year was to get 25 chapters. But to our surprise and delight, we ended up with, I think, about 52 by the time we closed the year last year, 2020. And right now, yesterday, Her Excellency and I were online, also opening and commissioning chapters in Australia, New Zealand, Barbados, St. Lucia, and Jamaica, and I think one chapter as well in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida.
I mean, that sounds very interesting. What does it take to become a chapter?
Well, technically what we do is, as you know, most of our positions, or should I say all the positions with ADDI are volunteer positions. So it's just a matter of interest. Let's say somebody from India has an interest in wanting to become part of the ADDI family. All they have to do is get in touch with me at chapters@ouraddi.org, chapters with an S at the end, and then the symbol at ouraddi.org. So you send me a letter or you send me an email giving me your name, your number, and who you are, or a little bit of a bio brief of who you are first and why you want to be a chapter chair. Now, some of them have been sending me emails saying, I want to be chapter chair, but no name, no phone, and nothing, so that I get stuck. And then I just save those emails, hoping the people will come back to me at a time, whenever they remember. But to make it easy, since you're listening to me now, when you send me that email, just please, even if it's in the heading, put your name and your phone number in the body. That way it makes it easy for me when I respond to you. So I have capture your information and then authorize or give you permission to open the chapter. If there's a chapter already in your area or in your region, I will then direct you to the chapter chair, or if they're co-chairs like Australia and New Zealand has to have co-chairs because that place is so big. So depending on the location, your geographical location where you're at, we will make a determination whether we open up a chapter or we recommend that you join an already existing chapter. So the process is very simple. It's very easy. Just write to me and I'll respond right away. But give me 2-3 days to respond because that email box is really full all the time, with such requests.
Okay, I mean, like we know that the ADDI, from its name, is the African Diaspora Development Institute. And now people on the continent are asking, are we going to also be operative on the continent, or is just for the diaspora?
Oh, I know, absolutely not. No, Her Excellency's vision from the beginning was that we were going to open up five offices in the 5 regions of Africa. That's the North, South, East, West, and Central parts of Africa. The initial plan, I'm not sure if anything has changed, but we were supposed to open up the first office in Zambia, and of course, due to the pandemic, that did not happen. However, I am so happy, very jovial, that we opened up the first office in Ghana. That was last month, and that office is in Cape Coast, Ghana.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think this question normally would have been directed to Her Excellency. She's right here because she made a point on that last time. But we are going just to get into the rhyme. But now that we're still on this chapter formation, how is it? We know that we have Europe, we have the Caribbean, we have America. Is there a particular region or a sector that you say, okay, for instance, if we are in Germany, where do we belong?
Yes, actually, we when Her Excellency rolled out a document we call the Constitutive Act. The Constitutive Act is like my Bible that guides me on the do's and don'ts of formation of a chapter, or ADDI as a whole, what we can and cannot do. And that keeps us in the lines, in the parameters of operation for how a chapter is formed. Okay. Now, the regions are broken up also on that Constitutive Act. The reason I have not shared the new one is because we have the attorneys amending and looking at the language, making sure that whatever information is put there is correct, and that it conveys the information that we are supposed to be sharing. So, for example, we had Canada that we had put into. No, let me start with the UK and Wales. We had the UK and Wales, which was region 20 and 21. So the way we had segmented it from our American side did not work very well with them. It's like putting New York and Los Angeles in one region. So they came back to us and asked us to make a revision so that we can put cities and states that are next to each other or that are located in the same geographical region. So we are open to that because remember, we don't live where you live. So we also, I and the ADDI team depend on your guidance as well. Canada was the same. We did the same thing. Canadians came back and said, no, the regions that you have apportioned for this and that does not work. This is what we suggest. And right now we are bringing those suggestions that they've brought into us. And right now Canada has the east and western part of Canada, and it's working beautifully. On the UK and Wales, we're still working. There's a few little hitches here and there where they put in certain areas, together. So if you are in any of these geographical regions that we apportion you and you find that we did not put them according to the way it works best for your region, please reach out to me at chapters@addi.org, and we will do the needful to make sure it works properly for your region.
Absolutely. I can believe, I understand that it should be a very big task and a challenge there, because I remember when we were trying to locate Germany, we actually had to take into consideration that we have the German country, so German state means that speak Deutsch. So, yes. and so it would be more appropriate to get people together like this, particularly because of the culture of understanding, like Africans in that sector. So I can really imagine that, yes, if you that are watching and you want to create a chapter, please be aware of the fact that everything that Ms. Sylvia is saying is working according to how you view your region. So please bring in a lot of input and advice on how we can make things very, very better. Thank you so very much, ma'am. It is not a simple work that you guys are doing out there. I just realized that Her Excellency has been kicked out of the show. I don't know for whatever reason. She should be back because we want to get into the action proper. Her Excellency. Is she there? Oh. All right. Yeah. I mean, even yesterday, it's crazy. YouTube has just been acting up a couple of days. The whole of yesterday, we couldn't post because the guests were rampantly kicked out of the show. Even me, myself. And at the end of the day, they threw me out. So, yeah, these are not our platforms. And that's why I come back again to our IT specialists. But before I get to your own question, I wanted to ask Her Excellency, the question that I asked Sylvia before was like, the continent is agitating and like, wow, this is a very big initiative. I mean, one of the first that we see this kind of organizing the diaspora, people of African descendants and those on the continent under one umbrella. And they're itchy to like, what is coming to us? Is it only going to be in the diaspora? What can we expect happening on the continent with the ADDI as soon? Her Excellency?
Like Sylvia said earlier, the plan is initially to have an ADDI office, one in each region. Had it not been for COVID, by now we should be in at least, at a minimum, 6 countries. That was the plan. But yes, we are in the process of, we have already identified the countries where we want to open ADDI offices. Now we have, as part of our blueprint, a program to engage African diaspora in various African youth in various sectors on the continent, and also linking them up with youth within the diaspora. IT is going to play a very important role. We have various programs that are lined up from cybersecurity training virtually to gaming programming, anything that we could do virtually, including some educational programs. We are looking to link up with pilot universities, one in each region. And so we have programs that we are adjusting to the current conditions where we can offer engagements virtually, engagements that are so needed, but also as we prepare to move in and participate in ownership of various opportunities on the continent, we also need to have teams on the ground. And so we are counting on our young brains who are the workforce to be a good part and a very important part of ADDI on the continent.
This is wonderful. This is a beautiful initiative, Ambassador. Concerning the funding, you were here last week. Has anything happened? Has there been some contacts that people are saying, "Hey, I want to"? From our part on the Pan African Daily, we saw a lot of huge interest, but now we don't know. Did they actually sign in, or should we ask that the IT specialists? Or did some people
Yes,
just?
where we are now, in order for us to actualize all the plans that we have for the diaspora, keep in mind, ADDI's job is to pave the way for the diaspora to participate in the development of Africa. We are
Mhm.
very clear about one thing. It's been very difficult for many African diaspora to effectively engage with our beloved continent. I know many diaspora who have gone to Africa, lost a lot of money. A lot of them faced a lot of challenges and ended up coming back. We're saying as we go back home united, we need to provide cover to those who have chosen to be part of the building of the Africa that we want. So yes, it's going to take money. It's going to take opening those offices. Those offices in the various countries are going to be staffed, and also creating those relationships, identifying opportunities that are ready for the diaspora to invest in. All of it takes money. So we're looking at an initial funding of $1 million, which is why we started the $1 million campaign. So the $1 million campaign, we're asking people to say, in order for us to have a voice, in order for us to stand up and be counted, no money, no voice. No one wants to talk to a poor man. We know what we can do with the initial 1 million. Ours is to pave the way. Once we identify the opportunities, we then pass them on to the diaspora, who can then create their own special purpose vehicles or investment clubs or whatever you call them. These investments are ranging from as little as 25,000 all the way to millions and billions of dollars. But we're saying some of the investments are such low-hanging fruits, like a team of cotton farmers who are only needing $75,000 in order to buy equipment to transition to even larger commercial farming. Herbal farmers who are looking for only 100,000. Let's identify those. Let's create an investment club, an SPV, where they can now get the 100,000, buy the equipment they need to take themselves to the next level. We're looking at people in manufacturing who are needing as little as $10,000 to buy the equipment that they need in order to take their manufacturing to another level. So many low-hanging fruits that we want to bring to the diaspora, and all the way to the large contracts, to building airports, to building railway lines. I do know when we organize, we have the expertise and we have the financial muscle. Like I always say to the diaspora, 1 million people with $1,000, which breaks down to $83 a month. In 1 year, we'll have $1 billion. Now make it 2 million people, make it 5 million people, make it year in and year out. You can see how quickly we can have a fund that is large enough to support and fund all the diaspora and the projects they may be interested in Africa. We're also saying, as African diaspora, as long as we're looking to others to fund our projects, we are not yet free. We know united, we are free. United, we have the capacity financially that we need. So ADDI is simply saying, for $1 million, we can get started. We can begin to identify those low-hanging fruits. We can get to where initially every month, hopefully in due course, every week, we are going to be bringing to the diaspora investment opportunities that diaspora can take advantage of. But once we present the opportunity to the diaspora, it's up to them to organize themselves and raise the money that is needed to actualize that particular investment. So this is where we are. We need $1 million. We're asking people to stand up and be counted. We're asking people to stop being noisemakers, but that we must put our money where our mouths are. Let's stand up and be counted. The building of the Africa we want is going to call for all of us to speak with one voice and go home in a united way. So yes, go to our ADDI.org. There is a button for donate to the $1 million campaign. We're asking people to give what they can.
Okay, yeah, that brings me to a question from doing Gavi TV, who just also thank you, Gavi TV, for contributing your $5 to the Pan African Daily TV. Thank you. And those of you that are watching, be aware you can drop your contribution also by using just a super chat here live. Now, the question Gavi TV is asking, can you, Her Excellency, directly, can you please explain the 89 pound dollar a monthly contribution to ADDI? Is it for donation or investment?
Anything given to ADDI is a donation.
Okay.
ADDI is a non-profit organization. So when you go to our website, there are various areas that you can donate. You can donate to the $1 Million Campaign. You can donate to the Operations Fund. You can donate to the Youth Empowerment, the Women Empowerment, or the Legacy Project. Anything given to ADDI is a donation. We have now an entity which is going to be presented to the diaspora shortly, African Diaspora Development Holdings. African Diaspora Development
Volume.
Holdings is going to be the holding company where various SPVs, special purpose vehicles, are going to come under. So all
Mhm.
identify in various African countries will fall under ADDH as special purpose vehicles. Each special purpose vehicle has its own board, its own investment structure, and its own shareholding structure, and is managed independent of ADDI. ADDI is just a facilitator. We are a facilitator. We're the ones who create the pathway for diaspora to go home in a seamless way and also protected from the various challenges that diaspora have faced in the past.
Correct. Thank you so very much for that direct question. You all heard it. The ADDI is a non-profit organization. What does that mean? It means that the donations that you're giving there is going to promote the work. We need to create offices and all these branches and even the staff. Imagine engulfing a whole continent and its diaspora on a structure like that. We need the support. So please sign into ADDI, make your monthly donation, and stay committed to it. I want to come back to Mr. Jote Tadese on this our IT specialist from the ADDI. Now, sir, I have a platform. Mom was the one. When I say mom, I call her mom because I have that spatial entity to call her. I'm talking about Her Excellency Ambassador Dr. Arikana Chihombori. When she was here, on the first editions that we started at Pan African Daily TV, it was about we need to create, we need to start innovating our own. And I heard just with one voice. And before 3 weeks after, we got into work and we created a Facebook-like app, a platform, which she also and others inaugurated, is called the AfroWorld.tv. Now, how do we associate that or put it to the use of ADDI?
Absolutely, and that's a very timely and relevant question, Dr. Susan. So ADDI as a broader organization has multiple chapters, as Sister Sylvia described. We also have multiple sectors. So the IT and digital technology sector is one of them. We have about 11 sectors today. We all interact on various types of platforms. There is interaction on WhatsApp, there is interaction on Telegram, interaction on Facebook and YouTube and so forth. But what we started doing is that those African diasporans and innovators within the continent as well, who have created platforms that brings Africans together, we started inviting them to ADDI to come and showcase their work to the diaspora. And the IT sector started having webinars within the last few weeks. And since then, actually, we have entrepreneurs that came forward. And as an example, an entrepreneur that came forward most recently is a creator and founder of a Facebook-like platform called Social Africa. So, if you think about Facebook, it's facebook.com if you want to find it on the internet. And this one is social.africa. So a domain name that is actually African, right? And This is a presentation that we provided to the global diasporans about an African entrepreneur based out of the diaspora here in the US who has created this platform and invited Africans to join it. And that platform actually has been growing by leaps and bounds over the last few weeks. So the point here is that although we have the flexibility and the freedom to go and choose and use platforms that are available to us, but when there is a digital ecosystem that is designed to bring Africans together, that is created by one of us, the choice is on us. Where do we go to actually elevate and cultivate and support one another? In a platform that's created by one of us, for us, makes sense. But again, ultimately, really, the choice is dependent on each one of us as individuals. I believe that a platform that your organization has created and others have created should come to ADDI. And I urge all of you, entrepreneurs, dreamers, innovators out there, get a hold of us. Come to ADDI, come home, and let's create the conducive environment that showcases your brilliance, your ideas, and your dreams, and actually take it to an entirely different level in a way that builds Africa that we want to build together.
Okay. It's like, okay, a marketplace. Let me just say it's like a marketplace for all African or initiatives. I mean, we host also an annual festival in Germany for the past 15 years, and it's almost like an international market, African marketplace, where people can expose their know-how and creation like that. Is that what we're supposed to understand? Why am I saying so? Like the platform that we have, I take the example of the festival. I think the ADDI is also in that formation. So like I won't take in one category a product, a similar product. If Africans are innovating one single product and all of them. So how do you differentiate to like, do you give some criterias like if I have a platform, it should be focused on this and this one so that we don't spend our time doing the same thing?
Absolutely. And so why are we even creating this ecosystem where various platform technology creators should come? One of them is really to provide visibility to what are we all working on and which one of the digital products that we're working on are similar. And can we actually pull together the leaders and the creators and the founders and the CEOs of these companies to create something even bigger by working together, right? Right now, so many technology leaders of the people of African descent across the globe and within the continent that are creating some amazing products, but none of us know about them.
Mm-hmm.
So the first order of business is let's create that marketplace. Like that's why I said an ecosystem of ecosystems within ADDI, so that we have visibility to that. There's no reason for us to reinvent the wheel. There's no reason for me to go out there and create a social platform when another brother has already created it, and when I can actually actively engage in helping to promote that and elevate that and cultivate that, even make it bigger. And I think it's on us, each and every one of us, actually to adapt that mindset, because we're not here to compete. We're here to collaborate, to connect our efforts together, because there is so much intellectual excess that exists amongst the African diasporans that could be harnessed and deployed to take the continent to the next level.
Absolutely.
If I may add on to that.
Go in.
Just to make things clear, ADDI is there to make whatever other diaspora organizations are doing better. ADDI is there to make whatever you're doing better. Take, for example, the brother with this social media platform, which is, like he puts it, a marriage between YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp. If they were to get married, what First Social Africa is offering would be that child. So we're saying he came to ADDI and spoke to us about his product. All we did was call on his brothers and sisters. We had a webinar. We brought in one other gentleman who was also working on his Facebook-like platform. Both of them presented. But the reality is they were at different stages. So currently what's happening is the one who is ahead is helping the one who is still in the process of developing his platform. They are not in competition. We are looking at 1.7 billion people on the continent. We are simply saying, you have a choice. You can either support Mark Zuckerberg or you can support one of your own African brother who has a platform similar to Facebook. The choice is yours. It goes to the same thing that I've been preaching, that you can go to a neighborhood where there's been a black man with a grocery store for decades, and the minute a Chinaman comes in and opens a shop offering the same services, we black people will walk right past the black man's shop to patronize the Chinaman. The choice is ours. It's about time we begin to have our own ecosystem as black people, as Africans, to say, why can't we have our own similar social media platform similar to Facebook? Why can't we have our own platform that we can begin to take care of ourselves? Look at healthcare. We are talking about bad vaccines for Africa. We are engaging the healthcare doctors. We have called on the diaspora doctors to say, why do we keep complaining that we may be given bad vaccines in Africa? Let's begin to manufacture our own. Nothing is stopping us from manufacturing our own drugs. We're simply saying a lot of the things that we are doing, we can manufacture ourselves. We can take care of ourselves. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Everything that we need, all we have to do is put out the word. And the diaspora are already doing it in some form. It's just that we don't have a platform to converge. So we are saying, here is where we come to speak with one voice, to shed light and highlight and promote whatever it is that we are doing in our little corners of the world. But we come here to unite, to speak with one voice and do whatever we are doing. Let's do it better and bigger. But at the end of the day, for the overall benefit of us as a people and our beloved continent, ADDI is there to make whatever you are doing better. We are a facilitator, we are a uniter, and we are saying, whatever you're doing, let's unite and let's take it home. It's that simple.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. It was still on that note because, for instance, we're sitting here on the Pan African Daily, and a brother had launched a app called Super Africa, which is likely or similar, like the WhatsApp that we're using, right? And but I have about 7 others that have done the same thing. So the thing is, should we continue to just do the same things, or like the ADDI is uniting? If Facebook would be 20 or 30 Europeans doing Facebook is not going to be that, isn't it, Tadesse?
Absolutely. That is the point. What we want to do is we want to bring those like-minded leaders together and say, how do we create something bigger? Because we've never had a forum that brought these creators and innovators and founders in the past. And in the absence of that, the innovators are not waiting. They're going out and realizing their dreams. They want to build something. They're builders, they're makers. And therefore, that's what they're doing. But there was never a cohesive environment that brought them together to think bigger.
Yes, I heard you. Okay, good. I mean, you have all heard, dear listeners, all of you that are watching, and you're watching in your numbers, as I can see. It is time, this united body of the ADDI, and please, I really have to reiterate on this, because now we have the ADDI. We don't want another ADDI. We are so notorious to just do the same thing, and because we divided in our mind, we have a structure now. Everything that we used to say in the past, we didn't have an umbrella. The ADDI is right here to harness all that, collaborate with us and present us, bringing us together under one umbrella for the United Africa that we all are urging for. I would like to ask Ms. Sylvia, get back to you on this. What is the job description of chapters?
My job description or the chapters themselves?
No, the chapters themselves, sorry.
Okay. All right. For the chapters themselves, basically what we're looking for you to do, if and when you form a chapter or if and when you join a chapter, is one of two things. The first thing is to galvanize the diaspora. We need to mobilize. We need to get at least 1 million people before the end of this year. We tried that last year. I guess we didn't do a very good job of it, but right now we're on live air. Those that are listening from far and wide, we need to mobilize as many of our diasporians as possible to have one voice, build one Africa. So once we mobilize ourselves, like Her Excellency keeps emphasizing, even when it comes to the funding, if each of us is giving that $73 or that $80 a month, it builds up our coffers. Thereby, we do not have to go to get money from no bank, from no Chinese, from no friends, from nobody. So as a chapter, we expect you to form a board. Your board will comprise of a chairperson, a vice chair, a treasurer, a secretary, and a media/communications person. Once that board is in place, for the first 3 months, we will allow you to have an interim board, which will be galvanizing the diaspora together. Once that interim board comes into effect, within 3 months, ADDI expects you to either you get yourselves re-elected into those positions, you stand in those positions as you once came in, or you call for a fresh election and you choose your people accordingly. The minimum number of attendance for those votes is 9. In other words, 9 people have to be in attendance to witness those votes or those board members that are already in there and want to re-stand or defend their positions. So once that is formulated, then now we have sectors. You heard our IT director, Jote, talk about sectors. Each chapter then also mimics the same exact chapters that the ADDI headquarters has. To mention a few, there's infrastructure, there's energy, there's agriculture, there's IT, there's health, and so forth. Now, the primary ones that ADDI has already put out there, we expect each and every chapter to adhere to those and run with those. There will be exceptions. Like, for example, the LA chapter came back to us and said, because that's the entertainment capital of the world, LA and Las Vegas, they also asked to have entertainment put on there. So like I said, the Constitutive Act is there to govern us as how we operate as chapters globally all over the world. But there are also exceptions depending on how you defend your request that you put forth to ADDI. When the requests come to me, they are then sent to the core team of ADDI. That is Her Excellency's immediate staff that are at the headquarters in Washington, D.C. And once the core team takes that, then it goes to the sectors. Then from the sectors, I believe, executive board and Her Excellency decides if and when it goes to the advisory board. So once those chapters are formed, we expect you guys or the chapters to start finding means and ways to start raising funds. Those funds are important because no organization, be it the 501c3 like ADDI, can operate without any funding. And might I also reiterate and repeat, none of us that work at ADDI are paid. We are all volunteers. Secondly, just for FYI, for those of you who don't know, I know this is insider information. Her Excellency will probably kill me after this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Her Excellency has completely, from the beginning, funded this entire ADD program. None of us put a single kobo, a single penny, single dime into ADDI. Her Excellency funded it, financed it, and she said she will keep doing it until ADDI is on her feet to be able to pay for herself and all her expenses. So as such, you guys have seen how elaborate our website is. That is an expensive feat to go into. She did it because of the passion she has, and we joined her because we have the same passion she has. So I see some comments here about people talking about investing. Why am I donating instead of investing? This is the reason why. We would not be sitting in front of you here with Her Excellency if she had not made the sacrifice she did, or if Jote did not make the sacrifice he did, myself either. So please Join us, because my job is to make sure that you join us. I want to see your faces on the screen one day. So the chapters out there that are global, as a mother and as a sister, as a grandmother, we are building a foundation for our generations to come. Some of us may not even live long enough to see this thing come to fruition, but the foundation that we are building right now is solid. And once the foundation is solid, it's going to be one brick at a time. Like Her Excellency always says, how do you eat an elephant? She says, one bite at a time. So let's lay one brick at a time together to build that Africa that we want through the chapters. Now, once you guys get yourselves together as chapters, believe me, galvanizing and coming together is going to be like snapping your fingers. Because once we send one clarion call out, let's say, for example, like Her Excellency was talking about getting the low-hanging fruits from all these African countries. If you are in our database, let's say, for example, Dr. Susan Tata, you're in our database. You are an engineer right now, and we get a call to say the Wakanda city in Ghana right now needs 25 or whatever engineers, some type of engineer. How do we find you if you're not in our database? It's easy for Her Excellency to go into the database, or for Mr. Jote to go in there, put in the word engineer, and 3,000 engineers come up. And guess who gets those contracts? You do, because we know where to find you. The system that Her Excellency has put together is phenomenal. And I'm telling you, once you join ADDI, you'll be very happy with what you see, what you learn, and what you hear. So come and join ADDI. Like I said again, if you're not sure if there's a chapter in your region, especially out here in the diaspora, please contact me at chapters at our day with an S at the end. I'm sorry, chapters with an S at our ADDI.org. If there is no chapter in your region or in your geographical area, we will allow you or give you the permission to open up a chapter, and I will guide you. I'll hold your hand until the chapter is up and running. So with that being said, what are you still waiting for? Come on, go to info at our ADDI.org, info at our ADDI.org, and hit that join button, register yourself so that you're not left behind. That's how our chapters work.
Beautiful. I think that said it even much better.
If I may add to what Sister Sylvia had just said, incidentally, you go to our ADDI, info at our ADDI is to send an email. Ouraddi.org is where you register. Just to re-emphasize the point that she has made, what is expected from the chapters is continued mobilization and pushing people to be part of the database. In addition, as well, we're going to be looking at fundraising. Those two are the main objectives at this time. Now, for those who are saying why donation and not investment, be on the lookout. Go to our ADDI register. We will be sending you an email where you can come and listen to our legal team and our finance team talk to you about ADDH, African Diaspora Development Holdings, and the SPVs that we are lining up for you to be prepared to invest in. ADDI is a non-profit organization. We do not handle any investments. Let's get that very clear. We are a non-profit organization. We operate based on donations. And today, this particular program is to reach out to African diaspora and educate you about what services ADDI will offer, what ADDI is doing to facilitate involvement of African diaspora in investing in Africa. Once we get the funding as a donation, we're using the funds to do office work, to hire people at some point. We can't continue to operate based on donations. Everybody that we have in our team, we have a team of sector leaders from education, healthcare, IT, small businesses, you name it. All those are sector leaders who are busy mobilizing within their sectors, getting involved with even legal. We have a team that's working on reparations. We got a team that's working on making sure that our 6th region is officially realized and approved by the African heads of states. We have a team in funding, business finance. We have a team that's working on, as we get these opportunities in Africa, they're also working on how do we fund these opportunities. So we have various sectors, all of them very active, but everybody's a volunteer. Everybody's a volunteer. The chapter leaders who are responsible for galvanizing their communities and letting everybody know about ADDI and why we must unite, why we must speak with one voice, why this moment is different. All of them are volunteers. So at this point, everything is based on volunteers and people who believe in what we can do united, those who believe in what others have done and that we too can do the same. But we cannot continue and think we can sustain our organization through volunteers only. There shall come a time we need a core team at the headquarters that is paid, that is going to put in full-time activities in promoting and working for ADDI. We have people who are volunteering full-time, but we're simply saying, realistically, it is not sustainable. And so we want people to stand up and be counted, support those who have stood up for the past year, and they will continue to stand up. I can tell you they're very determined. We are all very determined. I'm a medical doctor. You can imagine the kind of money doctors are making right now, especially with COVID. But I had a choice to make. The hours that I put in, I'm actually even putting more hours working for ADDI than I did when I was a medical doctor. But it's because I believe in what we can do. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for the children, grandchildren, and generations to come. I do know for a fact that we have dropped the ball as this particular generation. I was talking to someone, we lost our beloved sister, Cicely Tyson. She left us some very strong shoulders to stand on. Think about the civil rights movement and everything they went through for us to enjoy some of the privileges that we enjoy today. The Rosa Parks of this world. Think of what they did, the fight they fought. But after them, there has been nothing. We have just gone to sleep. We are saying we need to regroup. We need to pick up the pieces. If our children, our grandchildren were to come to us 20 years from now and say, grandmother, grandfather, there were problems with the Black race. There were problems in Africa. What did you do? I can honestly tell you, at this moment, if we don't do anything, it will be a shame that we would have watched our Africa continue to be abused and we did nothing. I would hope that we can all stand up and say, yes, while we may have been asleep, but the time is now for us to wake up. We are going to come together. We are going to pull our financial resources together. We are going to pull our intellectual capacity together. So 20 years from now, we can tell our children, our grandchildren, that this is what we did. While the mission is not yet accomplished, this is where we are leaving off, and this is where they need to pick up. But if we do not organize and begin to do something about what is wrong with our race, about what is being done to us to be automatically the most disrespected race on earth, I don't know how we can look our children in the eye and tell them we did nothing. I would hope we will make a commitment to do something to cover them, to protect and defend that which belongs to them. And that starts with their inheritance in Africa.
Thank you so very much, Her Excellency, for that elaborate and reiterating. You've just been saying the same thing. When is it that we Africans are going to know that even when we say donation, some people kind of like underestimate it. Sylvia, can you just give us a little bit, people like in the other chapters in Europe, a little bit of information we need out here, like people donate and they get like tax deduction or kind of a documentation that shows that if you donate to the ADDI, you can be exempted from your taxes. Is that the case with the ADDI?
Yes.
Let me answer that if you don't mind.
Okay.
The tax
Yes,
exemption
ma'am.
only applies to the United States, which is where
Yeah.
ADDI is registered. Now, if those who are registering and opening chapters for ADDI in their various jurisdictions, if they register as a nonprofit, that nonprofit status, it has to meet the rules and regulations of that particular country.
Exactly.
For
Exactly.
now, yes. So
Just
for now,
hold,
the tax
Excellency, hold it
deduction
there.
only
You would
in the
continue. Yes, thank you. That's the point. I would like you to still continue because, like in Europe, when we tried, is it relevant or is it not relevant that we put the ADDI as a registration in it? I'm saying, like for instance,
Yes.
our organization is the Africa We Want, but now we, because of the ADDI, we're thinking, why should we put the Africa We Want and ADDI? So it would be necessary to maybe just rename it the ADDI Europe. Is that okay?
absolutely,
Yes.
Excellent.
that is the right thing to do, to then register a nonprofit ADDI Europe,
Yes.
assuming that there is such an entity where you can have ADDI Europe that will be recognized as a nonprofit and is eligible for tax deduction in France, in Germany, in Italy, in all European countries. I don't know if there's such a registration, or do you have
It
to
is.
register in the various countries in order to
Yes.
meet the rules? There is. Well, if there is, then that's the way to register. But again, we're going to leave it up to the leaders in those countries. And we have lawyers in every sector. The beauty of the diaspora is there is not a single expertise that we don't have. We have lawyers who are part of ADDI in Europe, in the UK. So those are the lawyers that are going to be advising the entity back again to the leadership that's going to be established in each area. They are responsible for making sure as they register ADDI, they register it the right way, the way that meets the rules and regulations of that particular jurisdiction.
Thank you so very much for that answer, because we already had put in the name ADDI Europe and it's accepted. Anyway, we were just renaming the Africa We Want and it is given. So probably for those of you out there, maybe in the other communities, to go under that so that the ADDI is unique, not like different organizations with different names operating under ADDI, but just the ADDI Europe or Canada or UK or whatever.
Yes, Dr. Susan, may I chime in for a second?
Go ahead.
With regards to what Her Excellency says, yes. Once you register ADDI Europe, now in that Europe itself, you have different broken down countries. So some
Yes.
countries also have come back and say they want their own chapter. So what that means is that ADDI Europe becomes the regional body of ADDI, because
Yes.
it is in that region of Europe, and under that Europe, there may be 20, 30, 40 countries that come underneath that. So even those countries, if they wanted to start their own chapters, that is also allowed, it's also permissible.
Mm-hmm.
But they report to the regional ADDI Europe. Does that make sense?
Big, yes, yes, yes. Good. Where are we? There's some questions in the group. I'll just pick one, not really questions, but kind of like recommendations or comments. Like Norma is saying, all non-profits need donation. Everything costs money. We can expect to get opportunities if the funds. We cannot expect to get opportunities if the fundings are not there. Then another comment from Nature Speaks, I think responding to one is the one that he said, people, this is not different from your church outreach. The only difference with ADDI is that this is a body that helps us to be respected as a human race. And so it is what giving our investment to it. Her Excellency, is the same thing. Why would Africans go and give money to the churches and not to ADDI?
Again, I think it's really just our orientation in our thinking. Somehow we are programmed to receive and not to give. The only place we were programmed to give is the church. It's really unfortunate, and I keep going back to the missionaries when they first came to Africa. The mindset, the programming that they were trained to give us. And so we were programmed to give to the church, but that was just it. The rest we were programmed to receive. When you look at it, the person who made the comment, how do we get our respect if we are forever begging, if we're forever waiting for somebody to take care of us? I'm often amused by a lot of young people who put up beautiful business plans, some of them all the way up to 10 million. I remember a young man talking to me, beautiful plan, and he ends by saying, all I need is 10 million, ambassador. As long as you're still looking for somebody to fund you, you are not free.
Yeah.
The economic liberation that we're talking about, I often say it's not by surprise that from New York City to Los Angeles, the motels in between majority are owned by the Patels. Patels are a group of Indians who have come together and they believe in economic empowerment. They pool their financial resources together. And they started with one motel and then another and then another. They've been doing it for years. Look at China. 40 years ago, China was in the same place where Africa is. The Chinese diaspora did not ask what China can give them, but rather, what can I give to China? What we are doing is ADDI is building a house that's going to house us so we can be respected as homeowners, so we can no longer continue to be homeless and live under the bridge and everywhere where we can find a place to lie down. We're building a beautiful castle on the hill. Right now, we are at the foundation level. We are trying to claim our respect through ownership and having a home. We are asking everybody to come with the mindset that says, what can I do? We know while you may be a roofer, while you may be a drywall, while you may be into interior decorating, we are not there yet. For now, we want you to take a shovel and dig. For now, we want you to pick up the wheelbarrow and pull concrete and pull the bricks because we are at the foundation level. We are looking for people with the mindset that understands that the conditions of Black people today are deplorable, that we refuse to continue to be the most disrespected race on earth. The reason we are disrespected is because we are poor, we have no money, no money, no voice. We can be meted the worst abuses. The world at large knows that we will always be noisemakers. We make noise until the noise dies down till the next episode. The question is, are you the kind of a Black person who's comfortable with that, who's accepted that status quo, that we will be accepted and treated as second-class citizens? Is that okay with you? Are you okay with your children living in that world, your grandchildren and generations to come? To what end? We are hoping that ADDI, those people that are going to come to ADDI are going to be people with the mindset that says, what can I do? Not what is wrong with this picture. What can I do? We have lived in everything that is wrong. We have normalized a lot of wrong being meted to us Black people. To what end are we going to continue to normalize the wrong things that have been done to us? To what end? Like I often say to people, I've heard so many people say, well, Ambassador, they say you need to be a little bit more diplomatic. And my response to that is, how do you tell somebody who's been forcing you to give up your lunch for centuries, how do you tell them diplomatically to stop it? You look them in the face and you tell them what you're doing is wrong, stop it. There's no other way to say it. How do you tell a man who is beating you up to stop beating you up diplomatically? I could even be even more graphic and say, how does a woman who's being raped tell the rapist to rape you diplomatically? The question should be put to the perpetrator. What the abusers have been doing, the continued abuse of the continent, the question should be to them. Just like when I brought the issue of France and $500 billion, the question should have been to France, how dare you, France? How else do you talk to France except to say, how dare you? Stop what you're doing. It is wrong. But instead, our people say, well, Ambassador, be diplomatic. Really? For how long? For how long? What are you saying to those perpetrators? We say nothing to the abusers. Is it okay? What is diplomatic about what they're doing to Africa? What is diplomatic about what is being done to the Black race? What is diplomatic by automatically assuming a group of people are inferior? What is diplomatic about that? But we don't ask those questions of the perpetrators because we are programmed to think that way. My brothers and sisters, wake up. Wake up. If you don't wake up for yourself, for us, this generation, let's wake up for our children, our grandchildren, and generations to come. And that is what all ADDI is saying. We are building this house. Come to the table with the mindset that says, what can I do? Not what can I take out of the process or what is wrong with the process, because we're very good at that. We're very good at poking holes. If you come to the table, something is not being done, guess what? Because we don't have the specialist in that area, your position should be, Ambassador, I see a defect here. Can I work on that? I see a hole here. Can I fill that hole? Not why is there a hole there? Because remember, it started with one person when I left the mission. And I'm amazed at the number of people we now have, the team that we have built, and the team is going to continue getting larger and larger and larger. Picture us on a journey 10,000 miles. It started with one person, one step at a time. Then 2 people joined, then 3 people joined, and we just keep getting larger. We are now sitting at thousands, but we need millions. That's what we're talking about. That is the spirit we are looking for, not the spirit that's going to be shooting arrows and poking holes. We've done that all our lives. That is all we are programmed to do. We're saying it's time for change. I personally don't want anything out of ADDI. My gratification, my satisfaction, my payment is going to be in knowing that my grandkids will have a strong shoulder to stand on, that my grandkids will have somebody to cover them. And I know what I want for my children and my grandchildren is exactly what millions of mothers and grandmothers out there want for their children and grandchildren. So come to ADDI with the right spirit, the spirit that says, what can I do? These are the tools in my toolbox. How can I use them? And we might say, you know, son, you are a roofer. Do what you can. But when we get to the roof, you're ready. If you are a drywall, when we get to the drywall, you are ready. If you're an interior decorator, when we get to the windows, you are ready. If you sell furniture, when you're ready to get the furniture, you are ready. You spring into action. But for now, come with attitude that says, what can I do?
We don't hear you. We don't hear you. We don't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
That's
can.
better.
Yes, now.
Okay. I was just saying congratulations to Her Excellency. There's no way Africans on the planet, on the globe, will not look at this ADDI and be proud that a mother looked back and called the children home. So we are very, very thank you. And I think just to say what you were saying, diplomatic means they want Her Excellency Dr. Arikana to lie, just like they've been lying to themselves all the time. But thank God this time it is different. A mother actually knows the pain of a child. It doesn't matter. A mother would not just let them go. The mother would, and it doesn't matter what kind of children they are. So we want to thank you and we want to congratulate you. We'll be taking a few questions, but before we take those questions, we'd like to take a break. But before we take the break, I just want to thank this brother or sister, Al Elvin Anne Wakle. He said, I pay my taxes to the ADI and I don't care because I just want to be free from the oppression of even living like an American, which I'm not an American anyway. So I can pay my taxes. It doesn't matter anything that I'm giving them. Brother or sister, if you are, We thank you and appreciate you for that feedback. This is the spirit that we want from Africans worldwide. So we take a short break and we're going to open the lines and take some few questions. You are watching the Pan African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tata. The Africa we want. The Africa we want. Unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. I want to thank us back again for joining. And I mean, I see a lot of people, even from Cameroon. I see my big sister, Free Bime, watching all the way from the Yaoundés. I mean, every woman on the continent and in the diaspora, when Her Excellency Ambassador Dr. Arikana is live, it is the place to be, particularly. So, Mom, you watching from Yaoundé, you watching from Lagos, you watching from South Africa, and you watching even from Haiti and Brazil, and where I'm in Europe. We want to congratulate and thank you for your support tonight. The ADDI is the only spot, the one spot now for all of us to rally and say we are home. Mom, I want to get back to you. Now that you're still here, we have the privilege of being, you're looking so beautiful today. I like it. You see, I saw you put on that short sleeve blue, and I had to just match up my own red. I always just want to look like you anyhow. And so, yeah, that's true. Honestly, honestly, I don't know who would not want to be in this group. I don't know who doesn't want any African on the continent that doesn't want to show her face as ADDI. Now, I want to go to another very subtle thing. The lines are open for all of you that want to call in, ask the questions direct. What is it that you want to know about ADDI? But another thing that I want to know is, are they also some kind of like merchandising? I mean, like contributing? Yes, but we can start wearing our T-shirts or polo or whatever. The ADDI, because I'm already on the way to printing the ones in the ADDI Europe. What about you out there?
Yes, we are in the process of starting the Pan-African store.
Okay.
What we have done, again, this is what ADDI is getting to do best, is making the linkages. We have people who have the ability to place products in the box stores, the big stores like the Walmarts and the let's see, we have Walmart, we have Whole Foods, we have Costco's from Canada to Mexico, certainly in the US. But they're looking for an African market. They came to me and said, Ambassador, for some reason, there's an increased interest in African coffee. In this particular guy can put coffee and other products related to coffee, such as tea, in convenience stores from Canada. For some reason, there's an increased interest in African coffee in those convenience stores. Their problem is finding suppliers who can bring enough quantities. So, of course, I've sprung into action. Right now, I'm talking to 3 diaspora whose families are directly involved in coffee growing in Kenya. And so they're working at looking at what quantities they could bring in order to meet the minimum requirements. So all those products are going to come under the Pan-African store. We already have one of our own brothers with Mama Mata Coffee. He already has his coffee being promoted on the ADDI website. In his case, he's been nice enough to give us a portion of the sales to go towards the $1 million campaign. We are looking at bringing in more products. We have products that are lined up, T-shirts. We have mugs, pens, and so we have face masks. So there are products that are being lined up to be part of the, not only promoting ADDI, but they're going to be part of the Pan-African store. The products are going to be coming from vendors who are diaspora. All we do is promote them, but the purchasing of the products are going to go back to the diaspora vendors who we are going to be bringing together to make sure that the quality of the products they bring to ADDI are acceptable. We are also having Brother Mobley from Kenya. He's going to be leading the Pan-African store. He's going to be pulling with the next event we are having. We are going to bring vendors of African products. We need them to showcase their work, because we are saying we shouldn't have to go and buy fufu that's from Nigeria from a Chinese store. We shouldn't have to
Absolutely.
consume African products from Africa that are brought by non-Africans. I think that is a shame. It is unacceptable. It's a joke. It makes us look ridiculous. So we
Yes.
need to change all that. You will not find a Chinaman buying Chinese food from an African store.
Never.
Why would we accept the reverse? It is just, that's why they laugh at us. You know, I tell my white friends all the time, I said, sometimes I wish I could be a fly on the wall when you white people are talking about how dumb we black people are, the dumb things that we do, just stupid things that would never be tolerated anywhere else. Like I say, you'll never find a Chinaman buying Chinese food from an African store. And yet we're buying African food from a Chinese store. And we don't see anything wrong with that picture. ADDI is saying that needs to stop. So we are going to be having an event where we are going to be bringing African vendors with products right out of Africa. We are saying we can consume what you bring, but we also have somebody who is into branding. If those products are not quite well packaged to meet the standards, we are going to work with them and offer them this branding diaspora who is saying, Ambassador, any vendors that need help with branding their products in terms of designing a package and whatever they need in order to get their products shelf ready, he's more than happy to offer that service for free.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what ADDI can do. We work with each other. We work with whatever we do. We make sure that we make whatever you do better. So the Pan-African store is also going to be coming soon. The next webinar about that's going to bring together vendors of African products. We're going to having another webinar specifically addressing that particular issue. So as you can see, ADDI is simply saying insanity no more. All those things that we have been doing, all because we are divided, we got to stop. We're going to begin to unite for the betterment of all of us. When we all come together, that just means we're saying, yes, we can have Folgers coffee in our kitchens, but we must also have Mama Mata coffee or any other coffee out of East Africa. Yes, we can have Lipton tea, but let's also have tea from our own people in Africa so we can support us who are currently being given pennies to the dollar because they don't have a market. We are going to be creating a market for them. Certainly, North America, we have a plan. Our hope is we can also have a plan for Europe and other parts of the world. But the bigger markets for the diaspora for now are going to be North America as well as Europe.
Absolutely. Okay. I don't know. Any other person in the team wants to say something? Jote, you've been so quiet.
Absolutely, and again, you know, when the ambassador speaks, really, you can't do anything but be
That's right.
heard
That's right.
and listen. You know, I've heard her speaking many times, and every time I hear her speaking, it's as if it's for the first time. Absolutely. And I guess from my point of view, Her Excellency and Sister Sylvia have really articulated the purpose, the mission, and the vision of ADDI. As the sector director for information and digital technology, imagine a Pan-African daily TV someday being hosted on a social platform created by Africans for Africans, streaming to millions of viewers in real time out of a data center that is built and operated in Africa, using mobile, tablet, and laptop devices that are manufactured in Africa,
By
where
Africa.
by Africans, where participants from the continent, including merchants, business folks, are actually participating in advertising their solutions and their products, all in an ecosystem that's being facilitated through ADDI. That is the future that we envision. And for those of you who have any doubt about for the next several decades, the war for economic development of the continent will be fought on the spaces of digital platforms. Digital economy is the way in the future. And those of you who are specializing in those areas, like I say, software engineers, platform architects, digital banking experts, blockchain experts, you have to join ADDI. We cannot do it without you. All we're saying is the African diaspora has a role to play in the development of our beloved continent. Not doing anything is not an option. And come join us and let's take the journey together.
I would like to ask High Excellency another thing. When you talk about blockchain, Mom, do you also see the ADDI cryptocurrency?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we have several diaspora that are into blockchain. One of our very own has developed a blockchain technology that we are going to be introducing to the diaspora. And so, like I said, we have no shortage of the expertise that we need in every sector. And that, of course, is an area that falls under Brother Jote in IT. So yes, blockchain, of course, you can't get around blockchain. Everything that we do is going to require blockchain. So the gentleman who's going to be working on the cybersecurity side of IT is going to also, he has also developed a blockchain platform that we will be introducing to the diaspora.
Absolutely.
The whole idea is actually to say everything that we do is going to be driven by IT. Brother Jote is leading a very, very large sector, which is extremely busy. He has already given us a platform that is equivalent to our own Facebook, which we hope that we can have many of us to support. But we are also looking at more platforms similar to Facebook that we can support, because we're talking 1.7 billion people. But our whole idea is to say we can no longer continue to just sit back and be consumers of other people's ideas.
Absolutely.
We're very capable of initiating our own ideas. We're looking at having our own bank. We're looking at having our own fund through ADDH. We're looking at having our own Google equivalent in our own satellite, which is Google equivalent. We have diaspora who can design our own satellite. Because as long as we are going through Google, our data is not ours. We can think we are free, but we're not. Until we can control the entire spectrum from the satellite, then and only then are we free. What's really sad is we're looking at a continent with 1.3 billion people and another close to 400 million in the diaspora. Why do we need to be consumers of products from outside? I mean, come on, guys, let's stop and think about this. We have everything we need to create a whole, completely African ecosystem for everything. We can manufacture just about everything we need. The capacity is there. The financial resources, if we pull together, are there. And that is the mindset that we're hoping through ADDI we can promote. The mindset that says, yes, we can. The mindset that's not going to look outside, because within us, we have everything we need. Financially, I know some people find it very difficult. I joke about us women. To say, just look in your closet. How many clothes, dresses, shoes, handbags that you have that still have tags on them? And we're just talking, look, give up $83 a month Make it a commitment as a family thing. Children, we can't go to McDonald's until we have put aside our $83. And then let every family do that to perpetuity. How do you think the Jews after Holocaust got to be the most powerful group of people financially? Because they understood two things. After Holocaust, their strength was in their unity and their strength was in their financial muscle. So they set out to work on those two. They don't have to love each other, but when it comes to issues that matter, they stick together like super glue. Like I always say, I may not like my brother to the left, I may not like my sister to my left, but I do know that if I let go of their hands, not only do I go down, they too go down, but in addition, I set out a dominoes effect that we all go down. So at a
Wow.
certain level, I don't have to go running around and hugging and kissing my brothers and sisters, but I just know that I gotta hold their hands for the sheer survival of not only me, but my children, grandchildren, and generations to come. So there is a certain level that demands that we must unite. We must speak with one voice. Yes, when we finish with that level, we can then go home and fight as brothers and sisters. But at the level that we need to unite, let's understand that level. Other groups of people, other nationalities, they have understood that very clearly. We are the only ones who have not quite understood and mastered why that must be the case. This moment is calling for us to do it. If not for us, we must join our hands for our children and generations to come. And that is all we are asking, is that we get the right spirit, the right mind. Let's come together and build the most beautiful mansion castle on the hill.
Oh my God.
And
Okay,
Dr.
I feel
Susan,
like,
I
yes.
see that
Yeah.
I see that there are some questions with regards to how people can connect with ADDI. I think the info at our ADDI.org has been provided. And for those of you who are interested in what the ADDI IT sector, what is the strategy, what's the vision, and how are we going to look the rest of 2021, we do have WhatsApp channels, but we also have created our groups on Social Africa. Look up Social Africa and look up, once you join, ADDI IT sector. And it's a very vibrant platform that is growing by the day. And we want to engage you. We want to hear from you. If you have a platform that you've created that you want to showcase to the diaspora, get a hold of us. We create the environment and the forum for you so that the diaspora knows and can engage with you in the work that you're doing.
Susan, may I chime in, please?
Yes. I even wanted to ask Sylvia how many tags of handbags or clothes or shoes did she give up to put up all this energy? Because I mean, Dr. Arikana just said something that we particularly agreement. How did you do that, Sylvia?
Dr. Arikana, you need to stop this, you know?
But it's true. And I'm just
Do you know that I'm a very simple girl? If I tell you the jewelry on my neck is $5, would you believe me? I'm a very simple person. Very, very
Sure.
simple. The hair on my head is $3 a packet.
But then you also have 20 of those necklaces.
Which ones? Oh, $5, Your Excellency. So I multiply 20 by 5. How much is that? It's less than $100 now.
20 of them.
Okay, I'll tell my jewelry lady to stop selling. That is so true.
You know the one that
That is
kills me?
just so true.
No, that hair was so expensive now. I heard about this Brazilian hair that's over $1,000. I said,
Yes.
how do people carrying $1,000 in their heads? You know, no money.
That is so very true. That is so true, Excellency. Unfortunately, I don't wear Brazilian. I go the cheap way, $6 a pack, and I'm good to go. Yeah, I wanted to chime in. I've seen some comments here with regards to the language for chapters. Yes, Excellency did discuss this in the last chapters meeting that we had, that we are working on the Spanish and the French. I see Portuguese added. I believe Excellency mentioned Portuguese too yesterday. So what's going to happen is right now we do have a Francophone chapter in New York, the first one, that has been established and is being headed by Sister Mary Tarkey. So Dr. Norma Jackson is supposed to also be heading the Spanish connection. So we are also now going to start working on the Portuguese, because Her Excellency has also requested that most of the webinars or seminars that we're having should start being translated into these languages that we have spoken. Somebody also mentioned Swahili to say it's an African language. True. Once the first three that we have talked about have been taken care of, Her Excellency, myself, and Ola Inka and the team, including Jote, are working tirelessly to figure out a way, or to find the best way to accommodate each of these major speaking language areas. So we have South American chapters. I think we have about 9 already. Now, I was told yesterday Central America has come on board, which is a great thing because we were really trying to bring them on board. So please don't give up on us yet. ADDI is going to be 1 year old this year. So considering how much work has been done from the time she was conceived to now, please bear with us. Her Excellency works 24 hours, like she told you. I work 24 hours, so does Jote. We've got to get this job done. So the comments I've seen in here address me at chapters with an S at the end at our ADDI.org. And the other one asked about general information is info, I-N-F-O, without the R, info at our ADDI.org. Those of you who need to know more information, you were talking about quite a lot of stuff on the group chat. So we will respond to you from the various sector chairs or sector leads. They will communicate with you once you send that information to these 2 emails that I have given you. Galvanization is the word for me, and I'll keep singing it and dancing upside down. We need to mobilize ourselves, my people. Join our ADDI at www.ouraddi.org, www.ouraddi.org. You will not regret this. You will actually learn a lot, because there's a lot of things that are happening under the ADDI belt for one Africa, one voice, one people, and one continent.
And me,
May I also
the best daughter and junior sister of Dr. Arikana, she is gonna be here because I'm her favorite daughter on Pan African Day TV every Saturday with new faces and new team all the time. Siva is trying to do everything. Siva, what's your problem with me and Dr. Arikana?
My problem with you too. My problem with you two right now is you're trying to put me on the spot. You know, and I'll see you at the end of the show, the 2 of you. I'll meet you in the air.
Dr. Susan,
I love you, my sisters. I love you, my sisters.
No. One last word from the Excellency. What about the 101? I see a lot of people saying, Dr. Arikana, when are we going to have the Kiswahili edition of the 101? Africa Wake Up.
Okay. Well, let me first of all address the issue of the languages on our webinars. We are in the process of having a heavy investment into the Zoom with simultaneous translation into various languages. It is expensive. It's about $2,000 a month, but the board has approved the investment. So we will be upgrading our Zoom into the Zoom that has simultaneous translation into the various languages, including Swahili. So that's going to be coming up. As far as the translations of Africa 101, Africa 101 is the book that I wrote since leaving the AU mission. I realized that there were so many videos I could do. There were so many seminars I could attend. But the book, I felt very strongly that it was something that was needed. It is Africa 101. It is from A to Z, what has been done to us, what continues to be done to us, and what we need to do to get ourselves out of the doldrums that we found ourselves in as the Black people. It's a book that I hope that it can be a coffee table conversation for most people. It can be an educational tool for us to teach our children about our history in a very simple way that is easy to digest. At the end of every chapter, there's a video, 5 minutes, of me talking about why I wrote that chapter and what I hope you can get out of it. I did that for the benefit of those who cannot read because they're still young, or those who are just not able to read, to start with. But it's a book that I hope can put us on a journey to self-healing and self-discovery. So I urge all of you to go to africa101.org, africa101.org, get yourself a copy. I have someone who is currently translating Africa 101 into French as well as Spanish. I am looking for someone to translate into Swahili, Portuguese, and Arabic, which are the 5 African Union languages. But for now, Spanish and French are in the pipeline at this time. My apologies for not having it translated sooner, and also for not having someone working on Swahili, Portuguese, and Arabic, but it's in the pipeline.
Sylvia, I see a lot of people asking, this one is directed to you, I'm sorry.
No, it's to Her Excellency. It's to Her Excellency. Your Excellency, they're asking about Addis Bank.
Addis Bank. Addis Bank is one of the SPVs that I spoke about. It is a bank that we feel very strongly that it is needed. That is an initiative that's coming out of our finance sector. By the way, every Saturday, I'm going to be coming to you with not only a chapter leader, but also a sector leader. So over time, you'll get to meet all the sector leaders, as well as many as possible of the chapter leaders. This is an initiative that's coming out of our finance team. It's a bank that's going to be an offshore bank based in Antigua, and it's one of the very first SPVs that ADDI is supporting. It's going to currently the investment level, I think I can speak to that because it is something that they are promoting. For $1,500, you can become a shareholder as well as a board member currently. They have enough funding for the first phase, which is a prepaid credit card. The second phase is $3 million. They have started fundraising and have gotten a few contributions towards the 3 million. So for those who are interested in investment, that's one SPV that is ready for investment. That information, if you could reach out, send a message to info@our-ADDI and specifically request information on Addis Bank, we will direct you to Brother Olivier Kamanzi, who is the president of the bank that is currently in the process of being created. It's one of the SPVs that ADDI is supporting. So if you are interested in becoming a shareholder and a board member, currently they are still looking for board members who can contribute their first 1,500. Past a certain point, you can still contribute your 1,500, but you will not have the opportunity to become a board member and have a say in the direction in which the bank is taking.
Wow. Good opportunity.
I'm still online.
Do we just pick this one call? Just one. Hello? Hello? Yes.
I was trying to call into Joe, and I've been trying. I figured it out. Are they still accepting calls?
Yes, you are live and direct. I couldn't pick your call because you were calling direct. So on WhatsApp, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh
Yes.
Yes. So my name is Munir Bawa. I'm originally from Ghana. I've been watching your shows religiously, and I'm very, very excited. I think I'm in a conversation with Joti on what you call it, Social Africa. But I just want to see how much I'm excited to to be following you guys on what you're doing, well, I thought to share this. One of the things that is trending right now on TikTok is African fufu, and I just thought it's very, very interesting how African how African is trending in the American media, in in American media, and things that we are introducing, and our lifestyle is very, very interesting here. And things about us is very, very interesting, and it is very important that we come together and understand what we have, and also as in the sense of being able to come together as one. We have a very rich culture. We have a very rich culture, and it is up to us to figure out what we have and come together. And I'm excited about it. I'm doing my part because Madam Dr. Arikana, you have inspired me so much that words cannot explain, and I cannot put words to it. And I am doing my part. I'm doing my part. And I was talking to your team, and when everything is done, we're going to schedule a Zoom presentation, and I'm going to present to him what we are doing, what we're doing here, and then get his point of view, and then we can introduce it to everybody.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to getting your inputs and your support and your advice to see where we can take this thing, because I believe that we can empower Africa. We have the power to empower Africa. Now, I understand we that are in the diaspora, we see how the world works. Those that are on the ground, those that are on the ground are still on the survival mode in a sense. So we can, like Madam Arikana is saying, we cannot expect them to think globally. We have the knowledge. And we can collaborate down on the ground and build it directly, because we the diaspora, we have the knowledge, and if we come together, we can be very, very powerful. We can be very, very powerful, and I'm excited. I'm motivated. I'm going to do my part, and I think everybody who has the knowledge and the education to do this, like you said, what can I do for Africa? What Africa can do for me?
Okay.
What can I do for Africa? And I'm excited about that.
Thank you.
I just wanted to call in and just say thank you, and I'm watching from afar.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. It is said and it is done. So one round from all of you. I start with Her Excellency Dr. Arikana.
Just remember, if I may leave you with one image, it's of a house that's under construction, and we're just now digging the foundation. But the plans are to build the most beautiful castle on the hill. Are you willing to be part of this construction of such a beautiful thing? The choice. I would hope that you can be one who can make the commitment that no more shall we continue to be in the wilderness. No more shall we continue to live under the bridge when we are the owners of the most beautiful continent, the richest continent, but above all, we're the mothers and fathers of humanity. We can no longer continue the subservient position that we have been put in for centuries. We can no longer accept the fact that others look at us as inferior, and we have normalized that lie. We can no longer continue to believe in the many lies that Black people represent the devil, when there is no such thing as a Black devil, that others represent the angels, when we know very well that the issue of being an angel or a devil is based on deeds. Color has nothing to do with it. Those are all lies that have been told as a way of criminalizing Blackness. The question is, how long are you and I going to continue to believe in those lies? The time is now. Those are blatant lies. Let's understand them for what they are, and let's make sure we be the generation that's going to put an end to those lies. Let us be the generation that our children can no longer grow up automatically knowing through osmosis that they are inferior. Allow me to talk to you about the experiment of the little dolls, black and white dolls. When our own children under 5 all of them 100% preferred a white doll, not a doll that looked like them. This is how deep the damage is to our psyche. Our children at that very young age, young, tender age, no one has ever told them that black is ugly, but they just knew it. It is deep, and it takes us understanding the deep damage that has been done to our psyche. And so when it's all said and done, the healing that we desire, it starts by each and every one of us having a serious conversation with the image in the mirror. Because remember, no amount of education can decolonize you, can rid you of the legacy of slavery. If you go to that boardroom table with a colonized mind, garbage in, garbage out, your decisions are not going to be decisions that are good for us as a people. So what we need at this moment is for us to wake up, understand the lies that we have been fed, and let's accept in a united way that moving forward, insanity no more.
Wow. Yes, I think we are at the end of the show for tonight. What do we expect, or who are we expecting to have you here next Saturday with? Her Excellency?
Next Saturday, I believe we have the outreach, the director for outreach, Sister Amira Ansar.
Okay.
And we're also going to have Dr. Kajila, who is the director for healthcare.
Beautiful. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this has been the one-on-one ADDI, but we cannot just go without hearing you, Sylvia and Tades, say bye-bye to our guests, and we see us next time.
Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a pleasure visiting you in your homes today. As always, like Her Excellency says, we have to build the Africa that we want, one brick at a time. And to whom much is given, much is expected. I'm doing my part. What are you doing? I expect to see you on that ADDI forum, ADDI chapters. Come and volunteer with us. There's a lot of work to do by everybody and for everybody. Depending on your expertise, you want to volunteer to ADDI, please get us on info@addi.org. And there's plenty of work for each and every one of us to do. Your Excellency, as always, thank you so very much for your leadership. It's a blessing.
Thank you.
And again, Dr. Susan, this has been an incredible opportunity. I've seen many messages through the chat line, people asking for how they can get hold of me. To the matters of Africa, look me up on Social Africa. I respond to every questions that you have. I will get you connected with whoever you need to be connected on. Make sure you register on ADDI. Indicate your areas of expertise. If you are a technologist, we need you. We can't do it without you. And again, we are doing what we can as individuals. The question is, what are you doing? Come connect with us and join our movement.
Thank you very much. Thank you also for being our guest, and we see us next time. Stay healthy out there. Her Excellency, take very good care of yourself and the household. We see us on Saturday. Good night.
Good night.
Or good afternoon to you out there.
It is welcome. Thank you.
Yes. And I want to thank our guests that have really been watching, particularly on the YouTube channels. And it's incredible how you all are following the Pan-African Daily TV. And just one more thing before we leave you also tonight, remember the ADDI platform Europe is also available, and you can get in touch with the AfroWorld.tv is the social media platform for ADDI Europe. ADDI Europe is going to be officially launched. We already have the group going on, and the registration process is currently going on. For all of you in the Europe, like you heard, the little chapters that you want to create, be it in Belgium or in Switzerland or wherever part you want to create from, remember that this structure of the ADDI Europe is going to embody that. And so you can directly contact the Pan-African Daily TV for more information if you are interested in creating a chapter in your own country, and we will link you up to Sylvia, who was just here with us in a moment. Yes. So tomorrow, normally we should not be streaming, but we have to carry on the show for yesterday. As most of you saw, it was terrible. We could not connect for one reason or the other, technical reasons. And so we're going to have Dr. Ambassador Tony Jaja, again, live with us on this issue of leadership, COVID, and conflicts, and a peaceful resolution 2021 agenda for Africa. So tune in tomorrow. I might switch. We can do the show earlier, but I would post the flyer early in the morning, and we see how we connect to each other. So I want to thank you all for being here, and we see ourselves tomorrow. Good night. Bye-bye.